2018, we finally have Carter 5. I'm here to talk about it a little bit. Back in the day, I used to be one of the biggest Lil Wayne fans there were out there, so I have to say I was excited to finally get the release of this Carter 5 album. I want to start by just going over. It's 23 songs coming in at about an hour and a half, which is on par with the usual Carter series. This being the 5th installment. Usually all of the Carter albums are above 70 minutes, so this was right on pace with what you'll typically find with a Carter album. His last official release was I Am Not a Human Being 2, which came out in 2013. Ever since then, he's dropped a couple of mixtapes like No Ceilings 2, Sorry for the Wait 2, a couple of dedications. He even dropped a title exclusive, the Free Weezy album, and he did a collaboration album with 2 Chainz in 2016. Collie Grove, half of it being for Collie Park, which is 2 Chainz' neighborhood, and the other half, Holly Grove, which is where Lil Wayne originates from in New Orleans. Something quite interesting I found, they dropped a graphic illustrating Lil Wayne's pussy mentions. So it's quite funny because the Carter 3, which is probably his most successful commercial album, had about 50 references of pussy. I Am Not a Human Being 2, which came out in 2013, which was at the peak of Lil Wayne's pussy reference, had about 62 drops on that project. But with the Carter 5, we only have 6 pussy references. So we have a lot of good, meaningful content within this Carter 5 album. So I'll jump right into it, starting with the first track, which was I Love You, Dwayne, which was a very emotional message from Lil Wayne's mother. And she is kind of looped throughout the entire album as if she would have interludes. However, they're not listed interludes. He kind of places her at the end of songs or at the beginning of songs. After the emotional message that is left to Lil Wayne on I Love You, Dwayne, where she's just complimenting Wayne on how great of a man he's become and how good of a provider he is and how everyone is excited for his album, it really sets off the note beautifully for this next track, which is the opening track, Don't Cry, featuring XXXTentacion. I thought that was really dope that Lil Wayne decided to go ahead and throw him on his album, considering the fact that he's been away from the game for a little bit, and since he's been away, XXX probably arose back in maybe 2016 or so, and now he's gone, rest in peace. But I thought it was really cool how he threw him back on there, and considering that this was the opening track, I thought there was a really cool line in this song where he was saying, don't call it a comeback, it was dark now, the sun back. So that's basically just some words illustrating the fact that, you know, Lil Wayne is back and we finally have the Carter 5. So I felt like it was a pretty good song to open it up with. It came in on a somber tone, but for the most part, that's kind of what the Carter 5 followed. It had a lot of chill vibes throughout the entire album. The next song was titled Dedicate. It had a 2 Chainz sample from the song Dedication on the album Collie Grove. On that song, 2 Chainz was basically paying homage to Lil Wayne and just telling the story of how they met and everything that he's meant to him. And so you can kind of hear the sample throughout the song. You scream "Sue Woot" and the gangsters love you. Tatted your face and changed the culture. And then Lil Wayne is like throughout the song, I did. So he's basically acknowledging the fact that everything that 2 Chainz was saying in this song was true to a certain extent. So I really like this song. And then at the end of that, he placed a really good snippet of Obama saying, all kids can aspire to be like LeBron and Lil Wayne, which I remember back when the Carter 3 came out, Lil Wayne and Birdman kind of acknowledged that once they heard that from I don't even think Obama was president at the time, I think he was campaigning, they knew that he was on. So I thought that was really cool that he placed that within the album. The next song was Uproar, Swiss Beats beat. I think this has the G-Dep special delivery sample. all throughout it, and it's even inspired a challenge, the Uproar Challenge, which is popular up in New York right now. Since this beat has such a New York feel to it, and you know they're dancing to it or whatever. The song's very high energy. Wayne's going in over the beat, but the beat happens to be the focal point of the song, in my opinion. Leading into the next track, Let It Fly, we finally got that Travis Scott feature, which Travis Scott said himself that he's going to be featured on the Carter 5 back in 2014. So that's just an example of how long we've been waiting for this album. This song sounds like a Travis Scott song. It definitely has the Travis Scott influence with the beat. It almost sounds to me like Believe Me with Drake, but with like a twist to it, almost in a sense. It kind of was similar to that to me. Wayne comes in on the second half of the song. He kind of switches it up and does his, lyrical exercise. But, Travis Scott is not really a lyrical artist. He's more like a vibey artist where he provides melodies and cadences and things such of that nature. The next song would happen to be Can't Be Broken. A line that stuck out to me within this song was money went from army green to navy blue. I said salute. I think that's really funny considering the fact that Wayne has been rapping for so long. He's seen the color of our currency change. We all know we have blue hundreds now, but when Wayne came in the game, all hundreds were green, all money was green. So I thought that was pretty funny. And then I wasn't too fond of the hook in this song. I felt like it created a lull because Lil Wayne was actually providing some nice bars on his verses, but I wasn't really feeling the hook too much. Going into the next track, Dark Side of the Moon, which features Nicki Minaj. And then on this song, we finally get that famous, infamous lighter flick that Lil Wayne started doing around the No Ceilings era back in 2009. And so we finally get that placed throughout, or at the beginning of this song, and then he does it pretty much throughout the rest of the album. This song was surprisingly good considering Nicki Minaj is probably on my shit list right now after she just went on that parade about her album and being unappreciative and coming at Travis. But she was singing on this track and it was a different twist. I really enjoyed it, quite honestly. Leading into the next track, which would be Mona Lisa. I feel like this was a really good song, definitely one of the high points of the album. We get that Kendrick Lamar feature that everyone's been dying to hear. Lil Wayne and Kendrick go at it. It's arguable. You could say Kendrick bodied him, but Lil Wayne definitely held his own, He did something different. He told a story. Lil Wayne's never been an artist to tell stories too much, but they definitely get into a story here where Wayne is talking about a girl, Mona Lisa. He nicknames her Liz throughout the song, and it's basically about setting another nigga up. And then Kendrick comes in and basically comes in from the standpoint of still talking about Mona Lisa, but saying how she's a scandalous bitch and how, the dude, whether it be Kendrick or whoever, fell in love with her, but she's more in love with Wayne. And, at the end of Kendrick's verse, he decides to kill himself. So it was a really good story. And Wayne hardly ever does that, so I definitely appreciated that on this song. The next one would happen to be What About Me. This was definitely a chill vibe. Wayne's kind of singing on this song, which is a style that he kind of came up with when he was doing like the Carter 3 sessions, and he had like the I Feel Like Dying and all of those things. I believe that time was like around 2007 or so, or 2006. Carter 3 came out in 2008, so it was about a year or two before then. So Wayne does a good job of really incorporating all of his styles that he's kind of amassed over time into this album, and he does that within this song as well. Sosa Man is featured on the track. He's from Houston. He kind of threw the song off to me, but hey, what are you gonna do? Open Letter is the next song. Wayne is really just, talking this shit on this song. It's a very subdued beat with some heavy drums. I thought that he had a funny line in here as well. It's like, I'm fucking more than I'm making love. I don't think Lil Wayne has been married since his first marriage with his first baby mama, Toya Carter. So it's probably some truth behind that statement. The next song has Famous with Reginae Carter, which was an interesting feature to me, considering the fact that that is his firstborn child. And she's kind of singing on the hook. I've never really heard her music before. It doesn't sound bad. Like if they hadn't listed the feature, you know, I probably wouldn't even pay too much attention to it. But since it's listed, it definitely is something that I was looking forward to getting to when I gave it my first listen, because I wanted to hear, you know, what was going to be her contribution to the song. But she actually did a good job. The song has somewhat of a pop feel, definitely not one of my favorites on the album, but I can see it being something sentimental to Lil Wayne and his family. And so I definitely understand this song being placed with on the album. Leading into Problems, we got a Zaytoven beat here. I've never really heard Wayne go on a Zaytoven beat too much, because Zaytoven started coming up around 2008 with Gucci Mane back in the day. So Wayne wasn't really using his beats. Wayne was at a supreme level already and was only messing with the best producers in the business. And so it was definitely nice hearing him hop on a Zaytoven beat, as his beats have that classic trap feel, in my opinion. I thought it was definitely one of the better beats on the album. Leading into Dope Niggas, a track featuring Snoop Dogg. I definitely feel like that was cool having Snoop Dogg on the album, considering the fact that on any of the Carter albums, Snoop Dogg was never featured. I haven't even really heard Snoop and Wayne collaborate too much, so it was different. They had that explosive sample that we know from the Dr. Dre Chronic Part 2 album. I think that's what Explosive was on. I think Erykah Badu has used this beat before as well. And so that's what's sampled on here. So that was pretty cool. He's basically throughout the song just saying, grew up around dope niggas. Thank God I ain't a broke nigga. Wasn't too much of a complex concept throughout this song, but definitely a nice feature to have Snoop Dogg. Leading into the next track, Hiatus. I thought this beat was pretty cool. Had a nice sample in it. It makes the beat real relaxing, but it also has some knock to it. Nothing too special really stood out to me about this song. Again, this album has 23 tracks, so you could kind of get lost in the fire within the album if you're listening to it within its entirety, just because, you know, it's an hour and a half. So, you know, some songs I feel like could have been left out, but at the same time, you know, I'm appreciative for, you know, all of the music that Wayne released on this album, considering the fact that he hasn't been releasing too much great content over the last 4 or 5 years or so. The next song would be Took His Time. This happens to be one of my favorite cuts from the entire album. The hook on this track is Mama Said God Took His Time When He Made Me. The beat is absolutely fire. No doubt one of the best songs on this album. Within this track, Wayne is definitely getting in depth with his lyrics, and I feel like it's a meaningful song. We have Open Safe. We got a DJ Mustard beat. That's another producer that's kind of came up throughout Wayne's absence from the music game. Really, I feel like DJ Mustard kind of sprung up with YG back around 2013, 2014 or so. And ever since then, he's kind of skyrocketed and contributed to a lot of hit songs outside of YG. But it's definitely cool hearing, you know, Wayne hop on a DJ Mustard beat. It kind of had like a twerking vibe to it, considering there's a lot of clappers within this beat. So I thought that was cool. The next song is going to be Start This Shit Off Right. Now, being from the South, I absolutely love this song. It definitely has a Southern vibe to it. I'm not sure where this line originated from, but it starts kind of with the smile, bitch. We gonna start this thing off right. We got badass bitches in the house tonight. So it's similar to how Lil Duval's hit song Smile Bitch, it starts off. So I definitely like that. And Mac Main led that into the song. And then we have Ashanti singing throughout this track as well. It's really a nostalgic feel. It has more of that Carter 1 feel, Carter 2 almost, in my opinion. So I really appreciated this song. Is definitely one of my favorites. And then also it's a Manny Fresh beat. And so we all know when Manny split from Cash Money, Wayne really stopped working with him. So I haven't really heard him on a Manny Fresh beat since probably the Carter 1. So it was definitely nice hearing that. Next song, we have Demon. This one is a real soulful beat. repeatedly using the word demon to describe them being all around him and everywhere, and he play on words with that word demon all throughout the song. But I enjoyed it. It has a really soulful beat, which I enjoy. Mess is the next track. Wayne is going in about how everyone within his life is a mess, how he even himself is a mess. This song somewhat has kind of an emo feel, like he's complaining almost in a sense. But like I said originally, Wayne incorporates all of his styles of music throughout this album. Following Wayne throughout his career, I've seen him go from Hot Boy Wayne to Best Rapper Alive Wayne to Auto-Tune Wayne to Rockstar Wayne to Skateboard Wayne, and the list goes on. He's definitely one of the best rappers to have ever lived, because of the fact that he can sometimes absolutely rap about nothing and just put these words together in crazy ways that you never thought was imaginable. So I definitely have to tip my hat off to him on that. The next song is Dope New Gospel featuring Nivea, singing the hook on here. It's another chill vibe song. I really appreciated this. I felt like Wayne didn't go for the most popular artists out right now and put them on this album. He really kind of took a sentimental approach, in my opinion, from just reviewing the album, considering the fact that he threw his daughter on there, who's not really a famous recording artist. And then he also threw Mannie Fresh on here on a beat, which has sentimental value considering the fact that Mannie Fresh doesn't contribute to top hit songs in this day and age. And then he threw Ashanti on here. You know, who hears music from her lately? And then he throws his baby mama Nivea on here. I don't know when the last time I heard a new song from her. So I really feel like, you know, he chose producers and artists specifically for his vision. And I don't entirely know what his vision is. Maybe it's just to have a nice album with contributions from people that he admires. And if that's so, I can kind of see that just from listening to the album and reviewing it. Going into the next track, Perfect Strangers. This is another chill vibe. Wayne really has a chill vibe throughout this Carter 5 album. It's not like Carter 3 where it was like an overall of hits. I don't really hear too many hits in here unless that Uproar song takes off from the social media challenge of dancing or whatever. But outside of that, there's nothing really throughout this album that kind of strikes me as a hit. I do have songs on here that are now personal favorites of mine that I'll listen to myself, but I don't really hear anything that I could imagine, you know, taking off in the club or on the radio unless that Uproar song does it. But in Perfect Strangers, you know, Wayne is just really talking about one of his relationships not working out and his life just being too busy to build a healthy relationship with a woman, which I think that we could all kind of imagine for him, considering the fact that, you know, he's never been remarried after his first marriage with Toya, but he's had, you know, several children with a bunch of different women, Nivea, Christina Milian, you know, Toya, some random woman from Hawaii who he had his son with. I think he almost got engaged to Christina Milian. He's been all over the place throughout his career. I think he got engaged to Trina. Like, Wayne has always been all over the place with his women, and so I think he does a great job of kind of explaining that within the song Perfect Strangers. Used To, at first I thought it was going to be the Used To that we heard years ago featuring Drake, which was supposed to be on the Carter 5, I believe, but it ended up appearing on, if you're reading this, It's Too Late. So that was back in the top of 2015 or so. So this song wasn't that. It was a new rendition of Used To, and he's talking about what he used to do on here and why and how, and it's evolved from what it used to be into something else, which I guess makes Used To an appropriate title. The last track would be Let It All Work Out. Very great outro track, has an emotional vibe to it for sure. Definitely has a great outro vibe. We have Sampha harmonizing all over the track. Throughout the song, Wayne is reflecting on his past and appreciating the present simultaneously. He's talking about how he's contemplated suicide and acted upon it, but God showed him his life would be great. And throughout the song, he really, illustrates that moment of when he was young and he decided to take his life at a young age. And through doing research, I found out that he wanted to do this because his mom didn't want to let him rap, and he felt like he had no other purpose in life, and so he decided to go ahead and take his life. Throughout his career, Wayne has mentioned that he's been shot. However, he would mention it as if like he was shot doing some gangster shit or something, when in actuality he shot himself. So he's never really taken the time out throughout a song to fully address it and stretch it out and kind of take us there and paint the picture. He does that beautifully on this outro track. And I feel Wayne did a great job with the Carter 5. I mean, his time in the sun has definitely passed. Wayne's prime was probably between the years of 2005 up until I give him 2010, because that's around the time when he was launching Young Money with Nicki Minaj and Drake and kind of handing the baton over to him. And then when he went to jail in 2010 and came out at the end of 2010, while he was in jail, he released I Am Not a Human Being, the first album. And then the very next year in 2011, he released that mixtape, Sorry for the Wait, and then he finally put out the Carter 4. But if you were to compare the Carter 4 to the Carter 3, hands down the Carter 3 win 10 out of 10 times in terms of better content. But it was just also nice to hear Wayne going in and delivering a full-length project, because he hadn't done so in a long time up until that point. Now, if I had to rank all of the Carter albums, I never really thought about it, but I'm going to do it right now. My personal favorite is Carter 2, so I'm going to rank Carter 2 first. I'm going to rank Carter 3 second, just because of the commercial success and the fact that it sold 1 million copies in the first week, when nobody was doing that at the time, because music was in a weird place, because everyone was pirating music. But prior to the Carter 3 coming out, Lil Wayne had reinvented himself from the commercial success that he had already had from the Hot Boys up until Carter 1. He decided to go underground and release a shit ton of music through mixtape sites, and then also hopping on everyone's song, doing countless remixes, to where we consumed so much free music from him that where I feel like he gained such a loyal fan base that they just wanted to intentionally go out and support his project that was available for purchase, because it was his first one available for purchase since the Carter 2. So I'll do Carter 2, Carter 3. It's almost a tie, but I'm gonna go ahead at this moment. I'm gonna put Carter 1 at the third spot, just because that's the one that started it all, and it's also a great album. And it's at a point where Wayne was hungry. He wanted the time in the sun, which he hadn't quite had yet, as being, the most popular rap artist in the game. He definitely had that time, but at that moment when Carter 1 came out, or The Carter, he hadn't had that moment yet. And so within that album, that's definitely a part of his career where I could see that he was trying to become greater than all of his predecessors from Cash Money, and even people outside of that, like challenge the greats at the time, like Jay-Z and everyone in that line. So with Carter coming in at 3, I'll put Carter 5 at 4 and the Carter 4 at 5. Now, it's possible that Carter 5 could move up, but it's not ever going to surpass the Carter 2 or Carter 3. In my eyes, it could potentially surpass Carter 1. It's been projected that this album is going to sell around over 500,000 in the opening week, which is pretty good. They said that his opening numbers are probably going to come in second across the year after Drake's Scorpion, which is fitting considering the fact that he is a Cash Money, Young Money artist. He is Lil Wayne's protege, but it's fair to say that Drake has surpassed Lil Wayne in terms of success. Not longevity, because Lil Wayne has been around for over 20 years now, but in terms of commercial success, I would have to say Drake is more successful than Lil Wayne, even though Lil Wayne gave Drake the recipe, in my opinion. But, you know, that's why we have mentors and mentees. And, you know, we want our mentees to surpass the mentors so, you know, things can be better moving forward. Now, if I had to rate the Carter 5 album, I'd give it a strong 7. Like I said, there's much more meaningful content within this album than there's been in a very long time. I'm very excited for Wayne. We've all been waiting on this project. No one knew what it was going to sound like. No one had really heard any songs that were projected to be on the album. And so he dropped somewhat of a surprise. He teased us saying that it was going to drop a week prior to when it did, but then he actually dropped it closer to his birthday, which made perfect sense. But yeah, you know, this is a Lil Wayne fan just checking in, reviewing his album. I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to hearing more from Wayne in the future.